of Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course Mmpc 011 titled Social Processes and Behavioral Issues for MBA Program. Presenting Block 4 titled Emerging Trends. Unit 13 Organisational Inclusiveness Part 1.
Objectives. After completion of the unit, you should be able to understand 1. The concept of diversity, characteristics and benefits of inclusion. 2. What gender diversity is. And 3. How an inclusive workplace can be developed. Introduction. With globalization, more companies acknowledged the concept of inclusivity as it is making our workplace more diverse. Studies explore that talent diversity is the key for business growth. The positive outcome of workforce diversity is it brings new thinking and ideas, talents, experiences, broader viewpoints in an organization. To maximize the profit within a global framework, organization needs to become more diversified. Many companies feel pride among themselves for having diverse workforce group as it broadens their skill base and they become more innovative and competitive. Companies need these days diverse workforce group. It helps them to relate with global customers and increase market opportunities. Also, they get broader range of perspective for issues and challenges, innovative and competitive advantage. Diversity. The concept of diversity embraces respect and acceptance of each individual's differences. It acknowledges each individual is unique and can have differences in dimensions of gender, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic and demographic status, physical abilities, religious beliefs, and political ideas or other ideologies. Diversity explores these differences in safe, positive, and nurturing environment to understand and embrace their rich dimension. Everyone is valuable and has something to contribute to the equation of work. They are selected for their potential, talents, and experience for the job and company goals. Just because of their differences, we cannot ignore their valid contributions. A successful organization draws its strength from the differences of ideas and opinion and draws a supportable decision from it. Diversity can be classified as workforce diversity, behavioral diversity, and cognitive diversity. Workforce diversity includes similarities and differences among people in terms of different cultural background, gender, race, ethnicity, age, religions, physical abilities and disabilities, sexual orientation, family status, economic background and status, demographics. Behavioral diversity encompasses of work styles, thinking styles, learning styles, communication styles, aspirations, beliefs, value system, changes in attitude, and expectation of employees. Cognitive diversity focuses on diversity of thinking. It is represented by 4 dimensions, that is, perspective, interpretations, heuristics, and predictive models. Cognitive diversity results in high performance while dealing with complex tasks. In addition to creating a workplace inclusivity, many future-thinking companies are seeking out talent of thinkers who has diversity of thoughts. As per Deloitte, research underscores that diverse thinkers have innovative thinking and problem-solving skills. At global level, business leaders are making great efforts to create an atmosphere where opinion of each employee heard and their suggestions are valued and considered. They are making policies for inclusive and accessible workplace with special reference to differently able, LGBT, and women. Diversity exists in every part of the world, industrial sector, and organization. However, successful diverse organizations share one common distinctive feature. They have learned how to get advantage of diversity to create a unified and inclusive global organizational culture. At global scale, inclusion allows for more effective talent management, more effective alignment and team performance, and improved speed and efficiency across borders. Inclusion is an integral element of diversity, as inclusion works for the people who are slightly different. Countries which are much diverse will have to struggle for inclusion of everyone. Embracing the culture of inclusiveness within an organization is a long term process which includes changing attitudes of employee, practices, and policies at workplace. Creating an inclusive organization requires broadening mindset, perspective, and viewpoints of work staff. It opens the door to new prospect of world views, which is more than hiring fresh talent. It is an ongoing process to make the world better we do, as well as the improving relationships we build with the different communities in organizational context. Inclusive organization involves people from diverse background who brings with them larger range of skills and perspectives, which encourages the environment of innovative ideas, employee stability, increased productivity, and new supporters in terms of vendor contacts, financial sources, and employees. Inclusive organizations recruit and retain diversified workforce and leaders to represent the racial and ethnic composition of the communities they serve. Furthermore, these organizations are learning centered workplaces that value the perspectives, overview, and contributions of all people, and they incorporate the needs, opinion, and perspectives of communities of color into successful implementation of inclusive programs. Inclusiveness is a golden rule that suggests welcoming and acknowledging the diversity which makes us different and unique and creates an environment that strengthens and encourages open, transparent communication, innovatory, original thoughts and ideas, fair decision making, integrity, and equity. Characteristics of an inclusive organization. 1. It accepts diversity and implements inclusion strategy. In an inclusive organization, diversity is found at every level of hierarchy. People of different cultures, custom, tradition and beliefs, languages, rituals and lifestyles are accustomed in both the workforce as well as the customer segment and are respected without any bias and preconceived judgment. People are observed as individuals who have come together from different backgrounds but with a common goal and action to coordinate towards organization success. 2. Measurable behavior and competencies. Employees working at inclusive organization have well-defined achievable goal, roles, and responsibilities. They have measurable behaviors and competencies which are not affected by individual personal bias and opinion. 3. Transparent policies and procedures. Inclusive organization policies and procedures are transparent and equal for all. There are no hidden rules of behavior that may be apparent to some groups and unknown to others. 5. Consistency in practice of interactions with everyone. There is no two set of rules or contradiction in their behaviors. Rules are fairly applicable throughout the institution. No one group favoritism is done over the other. 6. Learning culture. Career development program is encouraged by top-level management and supported for all employees at all levels. Robust coaching and mentoring programs of both formal and informal systems that meet the individual learning needs of all employees are implemented. Mistakes and their consequences are recognized and addressed. They are treated as learning opportunities rather than character flaws. 7. Conflict resolution system at all levels. Inclusive organization recognizes that conflict is inevitable in organization which has diverse culture. Thus, they have well-defined conflict resolution system which addresses conflict without biasness, maintaining confidentiality and respects of all parties in a non-confrontational manner. 8. Active participant in community activities. Inclusive organization understands the fact that its employees, managers, and customers all come from the community. They actively participate in community activities and play a significant role in addressing its needs. 8. Vision, mission, and core values. People work for an organization because they believe in its vision, mission, and goals. These organization delivers what they promise and maintain trust and promise of its customers as well as workforce. 9. Value of earned privilege. In these organizations, employees are treated with respect and being recognized for their work accomplishment and good behavior. They are never biased for their socio-economic status or class. 11. Change management. An inclusive organization recognizes that change is inevitable, thus it constantly reviews its current and past practices and update it to meet the changing demands and needs of the industry, workforce, and customers. Benefits of an inclusive organization. 1. Higher job satisfaction. In an inclusive organization, workers are appreciated for their work and are treated with respect. Employees feel valued themselves and they are more satisfied for their job. 2. Lower turnover. People are treated as a valuable asset in inclusive organization. When employees are recognized and appreciated for their work, it creates belongingness in them for the organization. Inclusive organizations never take advantage of their people. It constantly makes efforts to show how much they value all contributors to retain them. 3. Higher productivity. In inclusive organization, people feel motivated and appreciated, which enhances their productivity and of the company. 4. Higher employee morale. Inclusive organization values their employees and their work, which creates happiness and job satisfaction among employees for their work. It boosts their morale and creates positive work environment in organization. 5. Improved creativity and innovation. When people work together in multicultural environment, it brings innovative and creative ideas. When diverse ideas and thoughts come together, it brings creative solution or next break through innovation. 6. Improved problem solving. When different minds work together in a diverse environment, then there are chances of improved problem solving as diverse experiences interact, their creative ideas provide better problem solutions. 7. Increased organizational flexibility. An inclusive organization has flexible approach. It adjusts quickly to the changes that are occurring at global level because it is diverse and collaborative. As conditions change, the inclusive organization can change along with them. 8. Better employees. Inclusive organization creates, attracts, and retains the best employees. They constantly involve themselves into improving and solving problem of employees through encouragement of growth and improvement. People want to be employed at an inclusive organization because these organizations are high performing, values multicultural and diversity, maintains high morale of its employees. They value and retain their employees, which lead to better performance of company. Inclusion of people with disabilities. Where everyone is in a hurry to get somewhere, very few people understand that there are people who may not be able to function the same way that we do. The differently abled individuals find hardship in daily functions of work situations, moving inside work area, and getting job opportunities. Disability could be by birth or acquired through illness, accidents, or as part of natural aging process. Inclusivity is a concept that has been around for many years, but due to unfamiliarity, only a few companies, corporate and organizations have adopted its principles. Companies now pay great attention to inclusivity principles to promote them. Corporate CEOs and global leaders understand that it's worthwhile, practical and profitable to recruit, retain, and promote the best talent regardless of disability. Recruiting disabled persons is accepted and recognized as a part of corporate social responsibility, CSR, and an essential element of inclusion for the diverse workforce. Companies should also focus and review their recruitment policies for differently abled people before they are hiring, their accessibility or reach to office or workstation, washroom accessibility, navigation of wheelchair or whichever assistive device they are using, and ensure sensitivity of other employees and orientation for them. One of the main reasons why disabled people are finding it difficult to gain job opportunities seems to be the mindsets of the employers. Employers' concerns about productivity, poor matches between the requirements of a job and the workers' abilities, poor matches between employee potential and job requirements, and concerns about legal liability. A successful organization is not only an assortment of different individuals, but also represents a range of skill set. A policy of inclusion of people from minority zones or those who are different is very vital for ensuring that the talents and capabilities of these stakeholders can be harnessed towards helping organizations achieve their goals. Persons with disabilities constitute a significant group which has the potential to contribute in a meaningful way to organizational performance if the right opportunities are made available. They can be reliable and productive employees who have the ability to acquire the job training, skills, and expertise to perform a variety of tasks. A policy of including persons with disabilities in the workforce enables organizations to add to the diversity and creativity at the workplace. Besides contributing towards enhancing employee morale, it is also a means for the organization to discharge its social responsibility. Definition: the World Health Organization defines disability as: disabilities are an umbrella term covering impairments, activity limitations, and participation restrictions. Impairment is a problem in body function or structure. An activity limitation is a difficulty encountered by an individual in executing a task or action, while a participation restriction is a problem experienced by an individual in involvement in life situations. Thus, disability is a complex phenomenon reflecting an interaction between features of a person's body and features of society in which he or she lives. Inclusion in the workforce, issues and challenges. Persons with disabilities have risk of being passed over in the competition for jobs and avenues for livelihood. In the face of negative attitudes and lack of access to proper education, transportation, and financial resources, they are often in danger of living out a negative cycle wherein the low expectations from them are in danger of becoming self-fulfilling prophecies. There are several sets of challenges which hamper the rights of the disabled to have access to meaningful employment, of which some of the majors are: 1. Inadequate access to education and training. The barriers start early for the disabled persons in seeking employment opportunities in the form of unequal access to education and training opportunities. Often there is a lack of proper transportation facilities for the disabled to conveniently commute to educational institutions. Further, the educational institutions are not disabled friendly and it becomes difficult to navigate within the premises. Also, in the absence of special teaching methodology, it can become difficult to keep up with the learning pace of other students in the class. As a result, the entire learning experience becomes extremely challenging and there is a higher likelihood of dropping out from traditional education system. 2. Social and psychological barriers. There may be prejudice and stereotyping about the capabilities of the disabled. The disabled person may himself or herself experience low self-esteem and lack of confidence in their capabilities. Sometimes overprotective families are not willing to allow them to venture out, thereby adding to the lack of confidence. Also, at the workplace, acceptance from fellow workers may be slow in coming. 3. Discrimination in hiring and promotion by employers. The disabled may be subjected to various forms of discrimination in hiring, working conditions, and advancement opportunities. They may be hired at lower paying jobs or may be even offered lower payment for the same work. They may be expected to work on lower positions and in poorer working conditions. In the absence of limited bargaining power, the disabled may be compelled to accept these terms. Also, promotional avenues may not be very much available to them because of attitudinal and perceptual barriers on the part of the employers. 4. Inadequate accessibility to workplace. Lack of adequate and appropriate public transport facilities to the workplace may pose a major challenge for the disabled. Also, the workplace design may not be adequately sensitive to the needs of the disabled. Although the law requires employers that workplaces are disabled friendly, the compliance may not be forthcoming in the letter spirit. 5. Other barriers faced by disabled job seekers. The obstacles in job faced by disabled applicant seeking for job will vary from individual to individual, of course, depending on a whole set of factors. The disability may restrict some people from doing certain jobs and in some cases from any particular job, but assuming that disabled job applicants, like most other prospective job seekers, only apply for jobs they know they can do. The key areas of different barriers, discrimination, and bias which prevent people with disabilities from working include physical, historical, and attitudinal barriers, and these are just a few that might occur. Physical and communication barriers include 1. Transport. Inaccessible public transport or lack of car parking at work. This can be a significant barrier for people who are visually or physically impaired. 2. Physical barriers. Access to the building and facilities is an issue for people with mobility and visual impairments. 3. Accessibility of information for people who are vision, learning, or hearing impaired. This includes lack of specialized equipment and low vision aids, specialized training to use this equipment, and the availability of sign language interpreters for interviews, training, and meetings. 4. No awareness for the job vacancy due to lack of information regarding mode of advertisement. 5. Inaccessible online job boards is the reason for disabled persons not being able to see it. 6. The application process being inaccessible, no suitable formats in the application form. 7. The interview venue being inaccessible, which includes infrastructure, ramps, lifts, restroom, uncluttered office setup for disabled persons. Historical barriers can include 1. The disabled candidate may have not had the same opportunities in terms of education, work experience, or opportunities for training as compared to other non-disabled candidates. 2. Prejudice by employers may mean the candidate has not been offered remuneration and designation as high as they were capable of ignoring their true potential. Attitudinal barriers in employers can include 1. Attitudes. Employers' lack of disability awareness and negative and stereotypical attitudes towards disability. In some workplaces, employees with disabilities have been segregated from colleagues and customers. A. Interviewers' lack of expectations and focus on a person's impairment rather than on their skills and abilities. B. Colleagues' lack of understanding and flexibility. In some cases, workers with impairments have been shunned and harassed. C. Public perceptions focusing on impairments rather than ability. D. Low self-esteem. E. Overprotective families. 2. Stereotypes. The perceptions that people with disabilities are more likely to have accidents and be less productive. The low expectations of the people supporting the people with disabilities in finding work. They may stress the moral and legal obligations of employing people rather than the benefits and skills of people with disabilities. A. A confound perception by employer that somehow disabled applicants will not perform as good as non-disabled applicants. B. Employers are surrounded by myth and a wrong belief that disabled persons are less productive, take more sick-offs, won't stay in job for a long, might be a health and safety hazard, etc. These are proven myths and are far off from reality. C. The fear among employers that employing disabled persons will be expensive and increase their cost in making changes in the workplace. The reality is they only have to make few reasonable adjustments in their workspace, which cost very minimum and very easily recovered from the average productivity of disabled workers. D. A lack of information and understanding among employers of available assistive technology in the market. E. Lack of confidence in employing and managing disabled people among managers surrounded by fears of mistakes, what easy mode of training should be provided to them. 3. Workplace policies and procedures. A. Inadequate recruitment and selection procedures. B. Recruitment agencies imposing selection bias even though an employer may promote an inclusive environment. C. Lack of awareness of the funding and workplace disability support available to employers. D. Lack of flexibility around hours worked. E. Lack of flexibility to work part-time. F. Restrictive work practices which are impossible for people with some impairments to observe. G. Support for employed people who acquire impairment. H. Lack of policy support. 4. Education and training. A. Unequal access to education and training, resulting in a relative lack of employable skills. B. Lack of previous experience. C. Adequate housing, education, and access to support are all interrelated with employment. It is not possible to look for work if you do not have adequate and reliable support at home. Attitudinal barriers from disabled applicants can include A. Disabled candidates may have lack of confidence due to rejection they may have faced many times on applying for job before due to their disability. B. Fear of discrimination, not being offered appropriate support, lack of confidence due to upbringing in society that equates disabled with not good as other. C. Insufficient skills to show in CV for interview and other job profiles as compared to non-disabled. How to create an inclusive and accessible workplace for inclusion. Special needs for disabled people. An employer must know before hiring employees with disability how to create inclusive work environment, which includes developing attitude, infrastructure, policies and practices so that they can easily accommodate with other colleagues. 1. Inclusive practices. A separate training for the persons with disability and a feedback to ensure their understanding must be done by HRs. A. For hearing impairments, an alternate communication via sign language interpreters should be arranged. B. For vision impairments, relevant visual material along with elements for providing verbal explanations of the same should be accessible. C. Implement inclusive practices and policies in the work environment. D. By effectively engaging employees with discussions regarding disability issues. Training to employees to enhance their understanding level and correct misconceptions. E. Behavior training regarding disability etiquette. Tips on interacting with people of disabilities. F. Disability awareness and sensitivity training that explore the biases, fears, and myths that creates barrier for disabled employees. 2. Inclusive policies. A. Policies formulation can be done after a proper plan for a reasonable accommodation as part of the overall budget to meet the requirements of disabled employees. B. Alternative formats of communicative materials for the visually impaired to read e-formats or braille formats as job application form and policies manual should be included. 3. Inclusive environment. A. To provide access for a disabled individual applicant to participate in the job application process. B. Create an accessible work premises with all the necessary equipments and facilities for persons with disability. C. Always conduct meetings in accessible place along with interpreters for verbally and visually impaired employees who can explain them. This can create inclusion for persons with disability. D. Conduct employee engagement activities, outings, keeping persons with disabilities in mind in places that are accessible to them. Never create such fun events in which they cannot participate and make barrier and inclusion. E. A team of individuals to plan and dedicate time assessing, planning, and implementing accessibility modification at workplace. F. Seek expert advice in accessibility to act as a consultant for changes. G. Assess needs and implement changes for individuals with disabilities within your workplace. 4. Inclusive infrastructure. A. Ramps, lifts, and restrooms in the office building should be accessible for the person with disability. B. Office set should be well organized and uncluttered so that visually impaired persons find it comfortable to walk around and access resources easily. Areas in which modifications may occur for the disabled persons include 1. Parking lots. 2. Entrances and exits. 3. Fire alarms and emergency exits. 4. Conference rooms and shared workspace. 5. Desks and personal workspace. 6. Hallways. 7. Stairwells. 8. Elevators. 9. Restrooms. 10. Cafeterias. 11. Electronic and information technology accessibility, which includes web-based intranet and internet information and applications, operating systems, software application, email and other electronic correspondence, software applications and operating systems, telecommunications products, video and multimedia products, desktop and laptops, closed products such as calculators, printers, photocopier machines, and job applications dashboards. Benefits of accessible workplace. 1. An accessible workplace increases productivity among workers and helps in optimum utilization of job candidates with disabilities. 2. It creates a workplace culture of inclusiveness. 3. It boosts morale and loyalty of other staff by creating committed diverse workforce. 4. An accessible workplace for creating job opportunities for disabled people enhances company's image among its customer, community, and suppliers. Removing or neutralizing these barriers by providing accessible workplace, support and accommodations to disabled persons with health conditions or impairments will help them to find employment opportunities, to stay at work or to return to work, if absent due to an illness or injury. This is true that many persons with disability are capable of working, provided their special needs are welcome and accommodated in the workplace by employers. Few examples of companies that have been constantly striving to modify its recruitment and retention policies for inclusive workplace culture. A leading food and agriculture company CEO, Greg Page, says, "The world is becoming increasingly global, visible, and transparent. As Cargill continues to expand worldwide, our differences from our culture and work habits to communication style and personal preferences are becoming even more essential to our business strategy. We are working hard to create an environment in which all employees are valued and respected, including those with disabilities. Our Disability Awareness Council partners with our company's leadership to build and sustain a supportive culture with the goal of employing individuals with disabilities." Employers in Singapore are gradually becoming more receptive to hiring people with disabilities. They believe the reasons for their change are a result of our improved economy, public education about the disabled, and Enable Fund. At AT&T, Cynthia Brinkley, Senior Vice President, Talent Development and Chief Diversity Officer, says, "We know that diverse, talented, and dedicated people are critical to our success. So, we seek out individuals from diverse backgrounds and give them opportunities to grow and develop in their careers. We have long been a leader in providing an inclusive work environment, offering performance-based rewards, and creating cultures of excellence." A SCS subsidiary, Trusted Hub, has been employing disabled people for several years, and we have found them to be very dedicated to their work, much focused and very efficient. Trusted Hub is currently one of the largest employers of disabled people. These examples show that companies have been acknowledging that one of the best ways to tap into the disabled customer segment market is to ensure it is represented in your workforce. Disabled workforce helps business to understand and meet the requirements of this important and expanding customer base. Research shows that consumers both with and without disabilities favor businesses that employ disabled people.
We were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code Mmpc 011, titled Social Processes and Behavioral Issues. Course coordinator Professor Srilata. Voiceover by Renuka. Edited by Ashok Sharma. Program assisted by Tarannum Jahan. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.